Good deal. Thanks for your time,
Oh man, it's
Bootsy. I really appreciate you. Just a lover of your music and respect your presence in music for as long as I can remember.
Oh man,
So thanks a lot for taking time out. So let's just start with the title of the album, Funk Capital of the World.
Yeah.
Where is the funk capital of the world?
Well, funk capital of the world is any and everywhere I go. You know, it's in the heart. You know, it's in the soul. It's in the, you know, it's in this vessel. You know, God blessed us with certain gifts, and the funk just happened to be a blessing that, you know, I was blessed with, and I just take it everywhere I go.
Yeah. Give me a definition of funk.
A definition of funk. Well, a definition of funk is it's an attitude, it's a style, it's kind of the way you grow up. It's learning. Funk really is learning to deal with what you got. If you don't have nothing, then it's all right. You know, you make stuff up. You know, funk is knowing how to live without. You know, and a lot of people just, you know, miss that part of life because things are given to them. You know, but as we come up on the street, it's pretty much, you know, you have to do what you got. You know, make do with what you got. And that's part of funk, and that bleeds on over into the music. That bleeds on over into every part of our being. And so when we grow up in the funk, and the funk is always there. You know, funk is living in a one-room shack. No windows. It's 110 degrees outside, and you got 15 people in there. You know, all sweated up together. That's funk. You know, and ain't nothing you can do about it. You know, and it's all cool because you're in there cracking jokes and having fun, having a good time. So that's what my version of funk is.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't Take My Funk Away. Catfish Collins and Bobby Womack.
Yeah.
Just talk about working with your brother and having Bobby on that track.
Well, actually, we had cut that for another record company a while back, and they were looking for more of a commercial, today kind of sound. And so they kind of passed on that record, but I knew that represented, you know, pretty much where I was at and the direction I wanted to go in. But not having the full control of the creative control of it, I kind of had to go with how they wanted to do the record. But that's what was so good about doing this record, was I got a chance to have full creative control and do the record the way I felt, because nobody knows that funk like I know. So it's like they allowed me to do what I do, you know, and it was just a beautiful thing to be able to put that record on this album, because, you know, timing is, you know, I mean, you know, my brother just passed last year. I just talked to Bobby Womack. I won't say nothing, but I will say that just send prayers up for Bobby as well. You know, it's just the timing is just so perfect. You know, like I said, we did this record probably about four years ago, and I just kind of let it, you know, put it in the can because, you know, a record company didn't want to do nothing with it. But I knew that record was, you know, and what was so funny about it was Catfish, he did this guitar track. Actually, the guitars is on it. He did the guitar track. We didn't do nothing else to it. Cat sung the hook. Don't take my funk away. Don't. He sung the hook. Bobby Womack came in on top of the guitars and a click track, sung the vocals. You know, and I just kind of left it, you know, because the record company didn't want to pick it up. So I said, well, you know, that's all right. You know, I'll finish it up on down the line. And sure enough, you know, when it came up the funk capital of the world, we had to finish it.
Right, here it is. Mascot Records, just kind of talk about your union with them.
Oh man, like I say, you know, it was funny how it all happened, but I am so glad we got hooked up through another project, and Mascot was really interested in me doing a full project the way I wanted to do it, you know, and that allowed me to go back to my roots, to go back to my funk, to go back to my not having nothing days, you know, and because no matter what I get, I still have nothing. The only thing I have is my word and that funk that God placed in my heart. you know, and I know that regardless of what's happening, you know, and that's why I try to make sure my feet are planted solid on the ground and give people what they want. And they want the funk,
right?
You know, and that's what we want to give them in this record. Mascot Ed, he allowed me to go in and do things like I wanted to do, and it was just a beautiful thing.
Cool, cool. And in addition to Catfish and Bobby Womack, you got a few other guests on this album. There's Al Sharpton, Cornell West, and Samuel L. Jackson, who are not quite noted for their music per se. Just talk about incorporating those three.
Well, today I thought about it, and it's like people are trying to do so many things and with no personalities and with no real voices. So I said to myself, I know people with voices. I came up in a generation that there were voices that people believed in, that people heard, and they listened. You know, today it's just so untrustworthy. Mothers just rapping, just talking smack, you know, and really don't believe what they're saying, you know. So I had to look for people that I felt still had a voice, whether they were in the music or not, you know. And it just so happens that I work with a few of these people, Reverend Al Sharpton, Samuel L. Jackson. We did a couple of projects before, but never an album, you know. And I just mentioned to them that, you know, on down the line, I would like for them to, you know, be on this record, you know, at some point. I didn't even know when the record was going to be done, you know, but I knew that I wanted to use them on, you know, the record because of their pureness in their voice, and you know, they're just real, they're passionate. You know, Dr. Cornell West. I mean, who else? Who else? I mean, who could talk about James Brown like Reverend Al Sharpton? Nobody. Ain't no musician, ain't no artist, ain't nobody in the world can talk about him like he can, but him. So I had to go get him. You know, Dr. Cornell West. I told him about the concept of freedom. You know, and the concept was, you know, we got all these smartphones and everybody's still making dumb decisions. I gave the concept to him and he took it from there. So nobody was really any pockets of resistance, meaning like, I don't know, well, none of that. Everybody that got on this record really wanted to be on this record and really wanted to do what they do, bring their funk, whatever it was, you know, and bring it from the heart. And to me, that meant more than being the greatest musician or being the greatest artist or being the greatest this, that, and the other. That didn't really, you know, that wasn't the whole thing about this album. It was about being real, being upfront with people, and giving the people what they want. Because we've lost that character, that part of us, as far as the people are first. Give it to the people, and then, you know, you get the return. Give it to the people first. What we want to do now, we go on stage talking about, throw your hands up, throw your hands up. Y'all ain't did nothing yet. You know? We'll throw our hands up when you do something. So in other words, I'm not going to pay you until you do something. You know? And see, we done turned it around now. We want to get paid before we do anything. No, I didn't come up like that. We had to get down. We had to give up the phone to get some phone. And that's what this record is. That's the message that it's all about.
Right.
You got to give up the phone to get some phone. And that's what we want to kind of help balance out. Not that we're going to save the world or change the world, but we want to leave that impression that this is what our generation is all about. You know, giving up the phone to get some.
Absolutely. George Clinton and Bernie Worrell are on the record. Just talk about working with them again.
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, it's such a blessing to have shared stage with them two brothers. I mean, you know, again, the funk capital. I mean, it's in them. I mean, it's in them. So, you know, what is in you is just in you. You know, George allowed me at a very young age to learn how to express myself and believe in what I'm doing. You know, it's like looking up to, I guess, a big brother and he's saying, okay, everything's good, you can go ahead and do what you want to do. You know, because coming from James Brown, that was a big step for me, to be allowed to do what I felt I wanted to do. You know, what the things I heard in my head, for somebody to say, yeah, go ahead and do that. You know, I want to hear that. You know, oh, you can do it. Go on, get in there and do it. You know, for somebody to say that, and a person that, you know, you look up to say something like that, it's like, wow. You know, it gives you confidence, and it makes you want to go do all of the things to please this person. You know, and George gave me that room. You know, he gave me the studio when, you know, it's like everybody else was asleep, you know, knocked out, you know, partied out. I was partied out too, but when George said you can have the studio if you can get up, get over there, in there, and beat everybody else over in there, you can do your thing. So I made sure every morning I was the first one in the studio, hitting it. You know, all I needed was the okay. You know, then nobody else. I didn't need no coach. You know, nobody waking me up and, you know, telling me what I got to do and this, that, and the other. All I needed was the okay. You know, and George gave me the okay to do it. And when he gave me that, it's like James Brown said, I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open the door, I get it myself. So all of that's in the back of my head, you know, and it keeps playing, you know, and in each situation I get in, I'm hearing that. Whether I'm paying attention to it consciously or not, I'm hearing that, you know. So it's all about, I'm not waiting, you know. I'm doing what I'm doing, you know. God gave me these gifts, and I'm gonna give until I can't give no more.
Right. Talk a little bit about working with Bernie.
Oh man, Bernie is like, I tell you, actually we just played a gig with Bernie last week with Snoop Dogg, and that was really cool seeing him, you know, because I hadn't seen him for probably about 8-9 months, you know, and to get back with him and to play with him, and it just brings back all kind of memory, because he was like, for me, he was always, because he was classically trained, and I didn't go to school. So we were like, I mean, you know, it's like positive and negative on a battery. You know, it's like we needed each other to make everything on the one, you know. A lot of times I would hear something and, you know, he would say, okay, well, this is the chord that goes to that. And then I would say, okay, because I didn't know nothing about chords or this, that, and the other, you know, but Bernie knows all of that stuff. You know, he writes music, and, you know, so everything I was thinking of, he knew how to kind of put it to paper. So I kind of needed him in that way, and he needed me in a way of going against the rules. I mean, I didn't know no better, you know, so it was like, I came from the James Brown school. All I knew was what I felt, you know, and this is what I'm hearing, this is what I'm feeling, and, you know, for me it's correct, you know. So we balanced out each other really, really, really good, you know. And I don't think it's nobody else that I work with that makes me feel like I feel when I play with Bernie.
Cool.
Yeah.
For me, your presence pretty much epitomizes the genre of funk, because you started with James Brown, the godfather of soul.
Yeah.
Who's I don't think there's any question that he's the pioneer of this music,
yes,
of the funk genre. And then you transitioned and started working with George Clinton, who, you know, Parliament Funkadelic became world renowned for funk music. So, and then you have your own solo career.
Yeah.
So it's like three significant entities of your contributions to music. Just what are your thoughts on that? I mean, for me, it's like I idolize you in that respect. But what are your thoughts on just having the fortune to be in those three integral places in regards to funk music?
It's unbelievable. I mean, you know, when I look at it, it's like, I don't know how all of that happened, you know, but, you know, I was just persistent over King Records, you know. They wouldn't open the door for nobody, you know. It was like, you know, get out of here, kid. You know, we snobby kids off the street, you know. It's like, so how do we get in there? Well, the way you get in there is you get down on your instrument. You know, you get down, you play hard, you practice, you know, and you make some noise, you know, and that's what we did. We started making a lot of noise in the community first, you know, and then people started hearing about us. King Records, A&R guy, came out and checked us out at a couple of clubs, loved what we was doing, invited us over to King Records. That's how we got in, you know. Otherwise, we were just standing out the door looking at them coming in and coming out. How y'all doing? You know, that vibe. But, you know, that wasn't going to get it for me. I need to be in that studio with you know, with them boys in there, you know. And so we were just really persistent on getting in. And once we got in, it was about showing your talent, you know, and just doing what you do, you know. And from there, you know, getting with James Brown, and he teaching me really about the one, you know, because I had no idea, nothing about the one. You know, I was just playing what I felt, you know, because actually, to start with, I was playing guitar, you know, so it was like I wanted to play with my brother. He played guitar. That was my big inspiration for getting into music, was my brother. So it came to a point to where, okay, to play with my brother, I need to be playing bass, you know, and that's how things started clicking. Once I got with him playing bass, then we got over to King Records, started making some noise about the rhythm section, and then with James Brown, you know, James Brown said, "Slow down, son, you're playing too much. Sound like you're playing guitar, boy. You know, slow down, play me the one. Play the one, you can play anything else, just give me the one." You know, so I gave him the one, and then I started playing what I felt. I mean, I kept doing what I was doing, but he wanted that bang, tick, tick, boom, bang, tick, 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 bang. So I gave him the one. Once I gave him the one, it was on. And from there, went to George Clinton, took the one over there. You know, I took everything I learned from James over to Parliament Funkadelic, and then learning from being in Parliament Funkadelic how I can, you know, stretch out and do any and everything I want to do. And George allowed me to do that. So as long as you can do that and come back to the one, that's what Parliament Funkadelic was all about. So that whole, you know, class from James, George Clinton, to doing what I, you know, what I do, it all tied in, you know, and it all made me whatever I am today. Chuck D, big voice, you know, big personality, made a big dent in his era, you know, and still, you know, Snoop Dogg, same thing, big voice, big personality. Ice Cube, I mean, you know, these cats got personality and voices, not only skills with the rap, you know, doing their rap and everything, but, you know, their voices and their imprint on music, you know, and what they've done. So it kind of ties in with the funk anyway, because it was all from the street, and it's all, you know, what we brought off of the street into the music, you know, and these three guys kind of, to me, did what we did, you know. We did it in funk, they did it in rap, but it all kind of is segued in together because they both came from the street, and, you know, we didn't have to go to college to learn how to do it. I mean, not to say that, you know, you can't go to college and get funky. You can go to college and get funky, but it just so happened that we didn't, you know, and it all kind of came together, and it worked, you know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Bela Fleck.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I figured that we had to show people that it don't matter what kind of instrument you play. You know, I came up playing the clarinet in school only because, you know, I couldn't play, you know, they didn't have guitars in school, so I had to pick something. So it just so happened that a neighbor of mine lived upstairs, and he played clarinet. And I'm trying to get ahead of the game, so I'm like, yeah, maybe I can get him to teach me something, you know, before I go to school, so I can have a jump start. So all the kids laughed at me because, you know, I went to summer school, you know, and I said, okay, I'm gonna nix the fun, you know, in the summer I'm going to summer school, because the guy upstairs, he kept telling me, you need to go to summer school. I'll show you this, that, and the other, but you need to go to summer school and get a jump on it. And you know, I signed up for summer school, and like I said, all the kids laughed, and you know, oh, you ain't gonna have no fun, you know. So I went to summer school and came out that next year, and I was like seat 1 with the B-flat clarinet, you know, and I was hitting it like a mug, you know, learning. I mean, you know, how to read on the clarinet in school, playing in the school band, that whole 9, you know. But that wasn't what I wanted to do, you know. I wanted to play guitar, but you know, you didn't have guitar in school. You had to play band instruments, you know. So, but that's what I learned, you know, and it just goes to show you, whatever you put your mind to, you can go ahead and do that, you know. I mean, clarinet, I mean, come on, man. I mean, it's like, I can't get no chicks playing clarinet, man. You know, I gotta play guitar, man. So that was the mindset, you know.
Lastly, just talk about your foundation.
Oh yeah, the Bootsy Collins Foundation. Again, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that ties right into what I was just saying about instruments at school. We actually could bring our instruments home and practice. So, you know, what I would do is every day after school, I would bring my instrument from school home to practice and show mama what I learned, you know. And all of that was really encouraging for me, because, you know, I got a chance to show mama I was doing something, you know. You know, everybody, we was all clowning, everybody was still clowning, but at the same time, I would take time to practice that instrument. And that wasn't no joke to me, you know, and mama saw I was serious. So in seeing that early on, she was able to help me when I needed a guitar. It was like, mama, you know, I want to play guitar. You know, there was no thought. You know, it was like, you ain't gonna do that. You know, it wasn't none of that, because she knew if I put my mind to it, I was gonna do it, you know. And I think it's very important for youngsters to, you know, to, in the very early stages, to try to make up their mind with what you actually want to do, you know, what you're going for. And so I did it early on, and it just all played out because I stuck to it, you know. Sure, there was distractions and all of that, but the foundation, again, the emphasis is to go into the schools that don't have these programs, as far as you know, musical programs and lending out instruments and stuff like that. We are adopting schools to get those programs started back up, you know, and you know, getting these instruments for kids, you know, so they can take them home and practice and do all of that, so they can get inspired, you know, get their creative juices flowing, because it's a lot of things that's going on now that, you know, kids are just not interested, you know. So we're thinking that the instruments will put some of that interest back, you know, and so we're going after it.
Absolutely.